I've heard so many times that God has a specific calling and will for my life. And that's awesome to hear. But at the same time, I'm like, what is it? God, I want to do your will, but would you just show me what it is? Have you ever wished that God would shoot you a text or send you an email telling you exactly what his will is for your life? I remember for me, I used to pray that he would reveal it in a dream or write it in the sky. But I think I became so concerned with the writing in the sky that I forgot about the writing in his word that he gave us. In 1 Thessalonians 4:3, it says, "For this is the will of God, your sanctification." That's God's will for our life. It's sanctification, which is just a fancy word for becoming more like Christ, loving God well, loving other people well. So God's will and calling for our life isn't necessarily a specific job, but rather it's a specific way of living. I came across this quote that I think sums it up really well, that is able to help me remember. And it's this: the best way to know God's will is to say, "I will," to God. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, like, come on, but seriously, you're saying, "I will submit to you as Lord. I will submit to your leading. I will submit to your way of doing things." And I'm not saying that God doesn't give specific calls to people for a certain place or position or mission. In fact, God calls all kinds of people to specific things. Like even Noah, he called him to build an ark. But at the end of the day, that was only part of his life. I think he was like 500 years old up until that point anyway. So up until that point, God's word, though, does make it clear that Noah was a righteous man who walked with God. God may end up calling you to something very specific. And if he does, you better go. But I don't think we need to spend our time worrying about a specific job or calling. But rather right now, as you faithfully obey and walk with the Lord in the spot you're at, the school you're at, aka the home where you reside right now, with the family that you're with, the next step, it might not be crystal clear or it may be very specific, but it is a guarantee that the Lord is going to be faithful to you. Remember that knowing God's will is choosing each day to say, "I will, God."